Okay. All right, there we go. And let's welcome everybody in. There we are. Welcome everybody. Bridget, how are you?
Good. How are you, Jamie?
I'm very well, thank you. I saw you do it, so I'm going to get my hair nice and neat too. Sorry about the blinding light. Awesome. Welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy October 22nd. Hard to believe, right? Here we are.
Yeah.
And let me get Megan in. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room as we go. So, welcome everybody. And I want to make sure we leave you today with some ideas that you can take and implement. That's going to be my goal today. Jason, did you want to start? I'll leave that with you, or I can jump right in. You tell me
No,
what
you
works for you.
you got this. You know how to explain it better than anyone.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to get clarity on where you are right now in your business, in your mindset, and then we're going to help break through that with some ideas on how to master selling. Selling in this market, stepping into and embodying our true identity of the person we want to be in the future that's already achieved our future goals. So I'm going to guide you through that process. And it's going to be basically a conversation. That's how I want this to be. So feel free to, there's going to be times where I'm going to ask you to make comments in the chat, and I'll ask everyone to participate. If you're here, I want to make sure you get the best value for yourself. So that means participation. So commenting yes in the chat, whatever it is. If you do that, that not only helps me, it helps everyone else. More importantly, it helps you because there's probably some mindset things, blocks that are keeping us stuck. So the questions I'll ask as we go through are going to basically just expose that. No judgment. Put it out there. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks. If you participate and show up for yourself, you're going to get so much more out of this. So I encourage you to do that. And I know I've been on the other side of the fence in many meetings, and you sit there and you listen, and you might be texting or doing something else. I invite you to show up. Today could literally be the day that defines the rest of your year. And that's a mindset thought. So show up today with the idea I'm going to take something for me selfishly so I can implement my business and finish strong. Okay. So let's jump right in. First lesson. Actually, let me get a sense of the room. If you could type in the chat for me, how many years in real estate?
Let everyone jump in now.
No,
I'll
they're doing it.
start.
I'm good. I'm going to wait because I know everyone's going to participate. And that's an easy question, right? We can all answer that. Excellent. Two, less than two, 1 3/4, five. Awesome. Okay. Now I'm seeing 8 people participating. So are you okay if I be your coach today? We say yes? Awesome. So I'm going to invite you to do something that may not be comfortable. And if you're in a position where you can, I'm going to invite you to turn and open up your camera. And the reason I'm doing that, if you're driving and you can't, I get it. Okay. If the reason I'm doing this is part of this shift in mindset. When we say we're going to create a shift and a change, we have to show up different. So as simple as opening up your camera and being open to saying, look, here I am. It exposes you, but it's also going to create so much more opportunity. It's going to help you play a different game for yourself. Second thing is I'm going to ask everyone to make sure you've commented. Now, I can't obviously force anybody. I'm not a parent here for you, but I'm going to invite you to play full out for yourself. And that means answering the questions, putting comments in the chat. Because when you do this, what you're going to notice is you're going to be able to take this and translate this and transcend this into client conversations. Because I'm going to be talking about today how to ask better questions to connect with people, give them space to answer. And what it does is it builds the relationship. So it is a safe environment, and I just want you to play full out. So that's why I asked you and invited you to give me permission to play the coach that I'm going to hold you to a higher standard today. Okay, so thank you for that. So I see the years in the chat. That's awesome. So I'm going to suggest right now you're exactly where you need to be and you have everything you need to do more real estate or sell more real estate than you probably have this year. Would you agree with that, first of all? Yes? Type yes in the chat for me. See, I'm testing you. Okay. So I'm coaching you at the same time. And I want participation for your benefit because as you do this, you're telling yourself, you're putting it out there. It's part of our mindset reset dump. Sometimes when we get blocks, I encourage people to write down everything where you're feeling stuck, write it all down, get it out of our head. The problem leaves us and goes on the paper. So as we're doing this, that's why I'm asking you to do that. Okay. So bear with me on this. Biggest lesson I've learned in my life that really resonated when I left the real estate world as a team leader at Keller Williams back in Toronto, coming up to 7 years ago. I stepped into and embodied with coaching that I had. Bob Proctor was a mentor of mine since I was 22 years old, and he embodied this concept of living from the goal, putting yourself in a place in the future in your mind and live from there. It helped me transcend my identity 3 times in my life. And we're going to do that today. So, whatever your business has been up until this point in time, do you believe you can have a different outcome between now and the end of the year? Type yes in the chat for me. We're going to shift. Doesn't matter where you are. I am not attached to that at all. I want to help you get into this future. And this is part of the Be Do Have method and the mindset piece. So, we have to believe the future can be bigger than the past. So, for yourself, you don't put this one in the chat. Write down what your current income is year to date. And this is for yourself, and it's important to get it out. If you don't know exactly, guesstimate. And there's no right or wrong answer. If it's zero, it's zero. It's cool. Doesn't matter. Get it out, put it on a sheet of paper, because that's the past. So we need to get clear on where we've been in order to move in a new direction. So now we have to look at our business and we have to think, okay, that's what's happened in my business, my life up until this point. Where would you like it to be between now and the end of the year? Starting today, for yourself, write down an income goal that you intend to achieve between now and December 31st. Write that down for yourself. And don't play small. Whatever you desire, whatever you want. And don't think about how it's going to happen because the how shows up. Okay, so you have vision of where you're going. Is that a big jump from where you've been, first of all? And do you believe that's possible? See, these are questions. If we're going to start to think different and create a different identity, we have to deep down have a belief that what we want is possible. Oh, Laura, thank you. Laura's not afraid. She put it out there proud and bold.
Big or go home.
I love it. Thank you. Anyone else want to do it? Feel free. And putting it out there sometimes is scary. I know you're going to talk to Jason about it. Jason, I invite you after this to circle back with everybody and let's get clear. Where are you going? And ultimately, what I'm learning over and over again, just keep getting reinforced. I have no idea how I'm going to achieve my goals. I just know I'm going to achieve them. I'm a goal achiever. Do I hit every goal in the timeline I've set? No. I'm constantly striving to become better and bigger every day. And as a result of that, sometimes the timelines are off, but I'm not going to give up on the goal. So I've learned to let go of the timeline I've set because I've come to realize it's my identity, it's my being that person that deserves and believes that is even possible. So I need to grow and keep growing to achieve my goals as fast as possible. This lesson that we're going to talk about today is based on a program we have, the Repeatable Revenue Roadmap. It's one of the modules, the mindset module. Jennifer, thank you for the 150. I'm going to help everyone now get set on where you are. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this live on the call. So if you're not on your phone, scan the QR code. And it's going to take a couple minutes. You're going to log in, put in your information, name, email, And there's 10 questions. So it's not going to take long. There's 10 questions, and you have a couple options on each question, three options. And you're going to basically just pick what answer is representative of who you are today. We're going to figure out where your mindset gap is, where the gap in your business is. So at the end of the 10 questions, you're going to score yourself out of 30. So as you're answering the questions, keep a mental note of what you've written, what you've answered the question. So it's either 1 to 3, 10 questions. At the end, you're going to enter the number that you've picked. So it's either going to be 20 to 30, less than 10, or 10 to 20. And then these questions, you're going to get the answers back to you. And it's going to help you get really clear on, okay, where are the gaps right now? But let's take a couple minutes to do this. And I never used to do this, and I started doing it 3, 4 months ago. And I've noticed the results that people are starting to get is different because they're getting really clear of where they are. I used to give you opportunities to do this after, and then what happens after this class is everyone goes back to doing that you go to do, and we don't follow through. So I'm shifting what I'm doing for your benefit, and it's going to expose your mindset about your business. So I'll give you a minute to go through that. Just type in the chat done when you're finished. And again, this is about being authentic and real. So it's like you're coaching yourself on this. Thank you, Megan. I actually had that in my notes to put in the chat. Awesome. Appreciate you. And as you're answering the questions, just go with gut feeling. Don't overthink anything. Thank you, Bridget. Everyone else almost done? Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, keep going through it. And as you're finishing off, I want to ask everyone on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your current mindset in your sales and your business right now? If you had to honestly look in the mirror, where would you rate your current mindset? And just type your answer in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10.
Can you repeat that? I was putting in my information in the.
All good, Jennifer. Thanks for asking. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you
Yes.
rate your current mindset in your sales and your business?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it's an arbitrary number. Just go with what feels right. Because it's my intention to get clear on how you would rate yourself and what that even means, first of all. Okay, so this is your current reality. Whatever you've answered is your current reality. And if it's not a 10, there's obviously opportunities for growth. I don't give myself 10 in any area of my life because I always feel there's room to grow. I'm very happy in most areas of my life, yet things can always be better. And that's a mindset that I have, and I've lived my life that way. So I'm always striving to become more and become better. So wherever you are, now we want to focus on the next part of this conversation today is how do we raise that? And that number you've given yourself without being judgmental, asking yourself, is there understanding, first of all, there's a perception for the number you've given yourself between that and what you would like it to be. So that number you've written down, to move that up the scale, what we want to do is we want to figure out, okay, what are the biggest challenges we're experiencing right now? Because that's what's showing up in the number. So for yourself in your business and everyone else's benefit, type in the chat what you feel your biggest challenge is right now. And as you're doing that, I'll give you some feedback based on recent conversations I've been having. Number one, buyers are waiting. They're all sitting on the sideline. Sellers aren't coming down in price. Affordability, people aren't getting qualified. Lack of motivation. Imposter syndrome when recruiting. Oh yeah, I get that one. Yep, that's honest. Thank you, Jason. Bridget, imposter syndrome. That's likely there for all of us at some level. I'm actually working on that right now with a couple of programs that I'm in. Getting clients to buy. Beautiful. Okay, so these are the challenges. Is there anyone else? Please keep anything that you're feeling right now. You don't have enough business. Pipeline's not reflecting how you're going to achieve the goal that you want. How do we find clients? What about converting? That's another one. Feeling stuck. Now, all of these, you'll realize there can be layers to these questions or answers to these questions, right? We're not going to get into that right now. We just want to expose what it is. Because if we can get that out on the table, that allows us to move forward based on what we want to cover today. So right now, we've rated ourselves without judgment. We understand there's blocks that are showing up in our business, which is likely causing the rating. More than likely is also causing the feeling you're maybe not achieving your goals that you set at the beginning of the year. You're feeling behind, you're feeling lost. Maybe you've dropped the goal. Maybe we've given up on the goal. A lot of people I'm speaking to right now they're already checked out. They're gone. So next year is going to be different. All that's happening in this dynamic in the market. And then the other big piece is world events, right? There's just so many macro events going on in the world that it feels heavy, right? Backlog of work. Okay, all that is there, and that's real. Everything you guys have answered is so real for you, and it's causing energetically a feeling inside, which is impacting your mindset. So what we want to do right now is we literally want to let that go. We want to say, okay, this is here, this is happening. We're not going to overcome it. We're not going to fix it today. We're just going to put it on the side. Let's just move it over to the side and now realize our minds are free right now. Wide open. We've got this stuff out. And now we want to start reflecting on how can I help you right now shift your mindset. And we want to transform our business today by becoming better salespeople. Right now, biggest gap we have in this marketplace is, if I can be direct, realtors have been spoiled for 20 years. Anybody that's been around a long time can answer that. Like this market right now is very similar to what we went through in the early 90s. And I got my real estate license in 86. So I went through the big rise and then a down market like this market for 7 years. and then it rebounded. And then since 97, 98, it's been a pretty smooth ride, except for a couple little blips. So putting a sign up and selling it for two, 300,000 over list price, honestly, we didn't need to be great salespeople for that. Would you agree? Or am I just talking? Yeah, let's be real and honest, right? Okay. Like I want to put it out there for everyone because this is what's happening. So if I can help you shift the identity of becoming a better salesperson and loving sales, which in itself is something, sales isn't something you do to somebody, it's something you do for them. So how do we help people get what they want? And the beautiful part about real estate, if you're going to sell something, you might as well sell something really expensive so you make a nice commission. Right? I started selling vacuum cleaners. Best sales training I ever had selling vacuum cleaners in 1984. And that led and attracted real estate to me because I tried to sell a vacuum cleaner to the president of the real estate board. And he was the one that said, "What the hell are you doing? I'm not buying a vacuum cleaner. Let's have a beer." We talked for 2 hours. And what he did is exactly what we're going to cover today. He was a master salesperson. And what he did is he helped me understand there's a process to sales. So if we step into this identity, achieving the goal that you've set between now and the end of the year, which is bigger than likely what has already happened, we need to embody the identity of a master salesperson. The fact you showed up today tells me you're exactly where you need to be. And everybody has a lot of this already in us. The question is, are we aware of it and are we working on mastery? Often I'll reflect with clients that we're stuck in the knowing doing gap. Like we know a lot of things, but we're not doing what we know. And that's where mindset, beliefs, imposter syndrome, all that stuff keeps us stuck. So what we want to do is we want to start having and shifting our mindset from selling to serving. Laura, Pitney Bowes, they have phenomenal training. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. It was great training.
Yep.
Killer be killed.
Well, yeah, eat. I got to eat. Did you know Andrew Apekian?
No.
Okay, he might, I don't know if it was Xerox or Pitney. Um, I recruited him to KW and he had sales training from one of the copy companies and
Yeah, it was
master sales for
phenomenal. Phenomenal
master,
sales training. Yeah. It was the best thing I think I did in my sales career for learning.
right? Right?
Yeah.
Like in those companies, you can't talk to the public until you've gone through sales.
Mhm.
Right. Here in real estate, we go through our licensing process and then we're like, okay, go sell real estate. So they put the pressure on the brokerages, right? And then it's just this whole convoluted chaos.
Yeah.
So here's where we are. And we want to start serving. So changing the concept of selling to serving. How do I serve more people? So embodying the identity of a master salesperson, we learn how to build rapport. Rapport is all about connecting. Rapport is about connecting so people feel heard. Rapport is about mirroring and matching body language, tonality, rate of speech, connecting with people based on their disc profile. All that is embedded into what we do. The question is, are we even aware of it as salespeople? Let me ask you this. What is the number one need do you think that most people have? I would say it's to be heard and to be listened to. People will tell you everything if we learn to ask questions. Most realtors talk too much. They show up in this marketplace feeling stuck, feeling behind. I got to sell a property. I need the money. That shows up energetically before you open the door, before you pick up the phone. Open questions. Asking a question that causes an answer. Even if it's yes or no, it's okay. It causes an answer. And I'm going to walk through a bit of a breakthrough in a bit to help break through that whole response rate. I agree, heard, and listened to, and then feel like it mattered. Yeah. Hear, listen, hear to listen. not the words. And here's where you know a lot of people are actually terrible listeners. They cut people off before they even finish speaking. Because as salespeople, we get caught up in traditional real estate coaching. What do you say next? So when I learned how to sell real estate, when I stepped into that world, they say this, you say that. They say this, you say that. They say this, you say that. That all worked back in the 70s and 80s. That doesn't work today anymore. Today is about connection. So how do we connect with people? So first of all, understanding who they are, listen, ask questions to listen, not just to hear the words. So we want to connect. We want to talk in their language. So what is their language? Listening. When we speak to somebody, think about the last client you met, whether it was an open house, online. Did you take the time to slow down to ask them what was important about buying or selling that property or buying or selling real estate? Was that a question that was ever asked? Doesn't need to be the first question. It's easy to transition it into becoming a second or third question. Because when you can understand the importance of why somebody wants to buy or sell, the next question guides them to getting exactly what they want. It's not about the house. It's not about the price. It's not about the location. All that is top level. We want to get below the surface. And the way we do that is we're going to ask great questions. So where are you from? I'm going to throw out a few for you. What do you do? What are you interested in? What caused you to reach out and call about this property? What is it about this neighborhood you like? What is important about buying or selling real estate? Those first few questions I asked are surface questions, and they sort of soften the conversation to ask that question. So that is one question. If you don't know the answer right now for any client you're working with, I challenge you to find that out today, like urgent. Because if you knew why they were buying or selling, you're going to be very surprised. Often it's not what you think. And it's going to also help us find out what are their pains and what are their desires. What is their deep emotional level? Why do they want to do it? Because when we can connect there, people feel heard, they feel drawn to you. You're no longer a salesperson. Understanding what impacts their decision of buying or selling has on their life. So this is asking the right questions, stepping into the identity of a top producing realtor, putting the selling aside and building connections. What's important? Jason, this is recruiting 101. So knowing Jason will now be connecting to everybody, and he's going to help figure out, with your help, what's important about you achieving your goal. Because when you know that and he knows that, now you're creating a team that's moving forward. And you want to see the best example of teamwork right now? Has anybody watched the Blue Jays the other day? Isn't that magic? Like
Right.
that second best home run I ever saw in my life behind Joe Carter. And talk about magic. Like I'm just in awe of what's happening there. And you hear them all talking, team, 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 team. Pass the baton, next person. They have so much trust and faith in each other. Imagine that's what your world looked like with your clients. Your clients had that trust and faith in you. They didn't see you as a salesperson. They saw you as somebody that's helping them achieve their goals, their visions, building their wealth. How many clients you need? How many clients like that do you need to sell 20, 30 homes a year? The magic number psychologists have shown is 150 key relationships. So if we went back to establishing deep-rooted connection with our clients, 150 key relationships, knowing that every time they think about buying or selling, they're calling you and they become 20% of those. 30 people start referring business to you on a consistent basis. There's 20 to 30 transactions and you never have to pick up the phone to call a stranger in your life. That's what's possible by incorporating what we're talking about, great questions, into sales, speaking their language. What's their pain point? So think about your current clients. Again, it's not just about buying or selling. What's causing them to think about buying or selling? What's driving that? First time buyer, what do they want? Everyone's going to have you're going to start to notice, look for patterns. And if you actually journal this, you're going to create a journal that will generate probably 500,000-600,000 a year pretty consistently. Is once you know the patterns and what people want, then you can start to market to those in your advertising. And we're not marketing the house, we're marketing what people are looking to desire or avoid. Tony Robbins says pain and pleasure, two number one motivators, and pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure. Isn't that interesting? We do things to avoid pain versus going for pleasure. And that's evident in the real estate world because we all know we should be contacting our sphere of influence, right? Making connections, calls every day. How many people make connection calls every day?
Try to.
The answer is no, right, Laura? Yes, we
Not
know we
telling,
should.
not telling.
Well, you just did actually, but that's okay. See, what I did there is I picked up on what wasn't said. So anytime we say try, that means we're not doing it. I know deeper, okay? Don't be offended on this, Laura. I know we can talk
No,
through
go right
this.
ahead.
I get it. Go deeper. Okay, we know we should be doing it. Knowing, doing gap. We know what we should be doing, but we're not doing it. What's the gap? There's something going on in our mind. Either we're avoiding the pain of the phone calls, we don't want to bother people, we don't want the rejection, and we're avoiding pain versus the pleasure. If you made 3 to 5 calls a day over the course of a month, 5 calls a day, that's 100 connection calls in the next 30 days. Every single person here would hit the goal you just set for yourself. 5 conversations a day. Bridget, you know we're talking about this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And guys, I model this. So when I say that, I track everything. Exactly what I'm doing right now. I have 5 connections a day right now on average. I'm doing 5, 10, 12 to 15 calls. 12 to 15 calls is getting me on the phone with 5 people a day. This past week and a half, I just generated 3 new clients and 1 new one-on-one elite client. I'm calling people I've already talked to. How many leads do you have that you haven't spoke to in the last month, 2 months, 6 months? Go there. Go to the low-hanging fruit. So we're avoiding pain of calling, bothering people. I don't know what to say, imposter syndrome. See how it all ties in? Versus if I did this and you made 5 connection calls, not cold calls, connection calls, go to your network, go to your database, go to people that already know and love you. I know this, I feel this, I know with my friends, and I know all the realtors I'm coaching and supporting right now. Everybody has a story. Every one of your clients has a story right now. There's something going on in their life that they would love somebody to talk to about. And guess what? In sales, it's not always about selling that particular house or bringing up real estate. It's about connecting with people. Connect with somebody that they just want to be heard. We all know this, right? Find your script. Yeah, whatever it takes. I would reverse engineer that and say, I'm just curious. How come you haven't called me? Play with this. Like I used to do, Jason, I used to do that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry I haven't contacted you. Sorry I haven't followed up. And then I realized, why am I sorry? They never called me. So I flipped this. I made 75,000 cold calls. That's how I built my business. So I learned how to have conversations with people and learned how to connect just through trial and error. Pain and pleasure. What is your pain and pleasure? So I'm going to challenge you, everyone write down and type in the chat. Pick your number, 3 or 5 or 3 to 5. Give me 3 to 5 or write down for yourself. How many connection calls will you make for the next 30 days? I expected that, Bridget. Thank you.
I actually found that the pain of calling people was less than the pain of looking at a really crappy bank account. This-
Pain and pleasure,
Yeah.
right? So in that, what we find is the pleasure is, okay, I connected this leads to this, so that becomes my driver. So if we knew, so just whatever works, ultimately it's figuring out what works better for you. See, I know right now, people now that are going to think about buying or selling in the spring, they're probably already thinking about it right now. Maybe they're behind on their mortgage. Like I'm reading some crazy stats right now, but I suspect 10 to 15% of the population is probably behind on their mortgage right now. They have financial pressure going on in their life. You think that's causing some pain? There's all these opportunities to connect with people that we already know. So everyone has a CRM, everyone has a database. Worst case, pick up your phone and you have hundreds or thousands of people in your phone. It's not hard to get them. Is your pain of not doing it stronger than the pleasure of potentially the outcome, like Bridget said? Because Bridget, we were just talking, what's the potential income ballpark in your pipeline right now?
Right now, 328,000.
That's pretty inspiring, right?
Yeah, I 100%. I wouldn't want it any other way.
And then yesterday when I talked to you, I didn't even know it was that level. And yesterday I started talking to you about just raise it a little bit,
Yep.
right? And I know in bold, they say double the number. I love the concept. The challenge with it is if you don't believe the first goal, we're not going to believe a double. But in Bridget's case, when you start to build out a pipeline and you look at your potential income and now you see what's in front of you, it's easy for you to raise it because you already have belief in that number. So how do we build the belief in what we're doing? So now 320, and that's October 22nd. You keep doing what you're doing for the next month, you're going to have a potential $500,000 to $600,000 business next year,
Right.
if not more. So pain or pleasure, what is your driver? Working with our clients, linking that to helping them solve the problem of whatever it is in the situation of the home buying selling process. I invite you to have this mindset right now. This is a market only for the motivated. Right now, if your buyer's motivation to sell is not at a 10, they're likely not going to sell in this market. Would you agree? Because every listing on the market right now they're going to sell for less than they want and less than they expect. So they have to have a level 10 for their personal reasons. What is their personal reason? Financial, upgrading, downsizing. On Treb last month, I was just looking. Last month on Treb, there was 5,500 sales. Jason, you'll know your numbers in your marketplace, right? So 5,500 sales, that's double two ends, that's 1,100 sales. Chances to make an income. There's so much opportunity out there. In Toronto right now, I suspect 60 to 70% of realtors are checked out. They're done. 60% haven't sold a house in 12 months. So they're just there in name now. So let's take the total of the market. So I want to show you guys right now the opportunity in front of you. Whatever your total market agent count is, look at the sales numbers for those people. Peel out 60% of the current realtors in your marketplace because they're not active. What's left? Calculate the top 20%. That's the club you guys are in. You want to be in the 20% club. So you're going to start to notice that there's 1 to 2 sales happening right now around you. The question is, are you getting your share? There is so much opportunity. That's a mindset. My goal is to shift your thinking around there's not enough business. There is more business than you can handle. And that's hard to believe, maybe if the sales haven't been there. I can argue on the other side, though, unless we believe that, it's never going to happen. So if we want to manifest what we want, we have to start believing something we don't have. So when we're working with our clients and we're out showing properties and we asking great questions, we know what's important about buying and selling. Is it because the kids want to be in a certain neighborhood? Is it because they want to upgrade? This is a perfect market to be upgrading. If you own a property right now, you can upgrade in this market and make money. And Jason will guide you through that. But in essence, it's around the fact that if you're selling for less and you're upgrading, that more expensive house is also dropped. 20% off a million is 200,000. 20% off 500 is 100. You make $100,000 by upgrading in this market. Now your job is to connect with 5 people, ask everybody you know that has a house, hey, if I showed you a way to make an extra 100, $200,000 in this market by upgrading, would you be interested to hear how? Those are arbitrary numbers that I just rolled off the tip of my tongue. Know your market numbers, and that conversation now is going to lead to pain or pleasure. I think I read a comment there that buyers aren't moving, buyers aren't getting clients to buy. Okay, here's a question you could ask people. You're calling your network. Ask every single person that owns a property right now, if I could show you or find you a property 20% below market value, would you be interested in hearing about it? If they say yes, what are they telling you? I want a deal, right? If they say no, I would I would raise the amount. What about 30%? No, 50%. And I'm just playing right now. I just want to see what's their number. Maybe if you said that to me right now, I'm not interested in buying. Now, if you brought me a property 50% below market and I did my research, I'd find the money. Right? Isn't that true? And you don't even need the money. If I found a property below market value, I'd call up my buddies and say, guys, I need 50,000 each and we're going to go scoop a property. You in? Like money's not the reason people don't buy or sell unless we allow it to be. So we want to get clear on language. This is all around language and motivation, pain and pleasure. So have a mindset that this is a motivated market for buyers and sellers, and more importantly, for every person here on this call. Anything that you think is holding you back is a mindset and a belief system. And the opposite of what you think is holding you back is how you're going to get to that next chapter of your life, becoming that person that you want to be in the future. When you're working with buyers and sellers, really start to look at body language now moving forward. When I got to the end of my real estate career, here's how I worked with buyers. I'd walk in the front door and I'd say, guys, I'm not going to sell you a house. You're going to tell me if this is the house for you. So when we walk in, I'm going to look at you and you're going to know within seconds if this is the right property. So I'm just going to ask you, is this the one? That was my close. Pretty subtle, pretty soft, but isn't it true? Don't people know? When you're showing a buyer and their eyes light up, our job is to get out of the way, keep selling the motivation and the opportunity, and get the deal done. I talked myself out of so many sales early in my career because I didn't know what to say and I didn't shut up. So start to watch body language. And when you know why they want to buy or sell, we always want to bring that in the question. And make it fun. Who struggles with asking somebody to buy or sell a house? The close. Who struggles with closing? D personalities typically say no.
At all.
Anyone struggle with it? Because I want to help you through that. Yeah, sometimes. And Jennifer, that's honest. Thank you. Anytime you're feeling that you're holding yourself back, that's the opportunity to step forward and ask the question that you want to ask. This is how we coach ourselves forward. And I remember doing this. I wanted to ask and I didn't ask the question. I'd hold myself back. I'm a high I personality. I like to be everybody's friend. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to apply pressure. And I would hold myself back from asking the question. The minute we hold ourselves back, then we're staying stuck. So let's flip the mindset, ask the question that feels uncomfortable. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So if you're feeling stuck, we use these test trial closes. When you're getting ready to leave the house, tell them right before you start showing properties, I'm going to ask you, this was my script. Boom, going right back in my head. I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know what you're thinking. So with your permission, is it okay if I ask you after every sale or every property we look at, if you want to make an offer on this one, or if this is the right house? Are you okay if I ask you that? What do you think everybody says right in the beginning of a relationship with a buyer? Yeah, no problem. Now they've given you permission to simply ask them, is this the one? That's called a close. It's a trial close using sales language. Leads right into ask for the close, ask for the sale. So we can be very direct. We can be subtle and soft. Here's a perfect transition into a close. The perfect closing question is based on the objection close. So the objection close is whatever they say is the reason that they don't want to move forward. I don't want to put an offer in. I don't want to accept that price. I want to wait for a different market. Whatever the next objection you hear, here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Take back, use the feedback technique. Whatever they've just said, feed that back to them. It's too expensive. I don't want to buy right now. The market's bad. The market's bad? And sit and let the silence do the work. It will be uncomfortable. You'll want to talk. I'm not giving you permission to talk. I'll take the ownership on that. You let it sit until they speak. And you're going to feel, and now you watch the body language and they're going to squirm. They're going to start to look at their partner and they will speak. That's sales mastery. It's too expensive. Feedback technique, feedback whatever the objection is. Jason, you're recruiting, feedback technique. Jason, let me ask you, what would be the number one reason you think right now, or you've heard that realtors don't want to change companies?
Do you want me to do it on mic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, the main one we're getting a lot from that is that they like the people or the culture they have within them. Most of the time, it's actually not even the brokerage itself.
So you like the people that you're currently with at your brokerage, right? Right? Let's role play. What does that mean? Tell me more.
You know, and we have a great thing going where we help each other, and it kind of gives us everything we're not getting within our brokerage.
Do you see how that just opened up all kinds of opportunity to take it to the next step?
Yep.
What about anybody that's working with a buyer right now? What's an objection you just heard? Go ahead, guys.
I've got one,
Go for it.
but it's not technically an objection, I don't think. Well, it is. I had a buyer that, or I'm still working with him, but he's been away, but who we saw a ton of houses. We found a house that was absolutely perfect. He walked in and almost immediately said, let's make an offer. But then when he spoke to his wife, she said no, because the backyard was too small, and it wasn't a small backyard, but he he went with it. And he even said to me, I feel sick about this because this is the house I want. What do you say?
Okay, that's loaded there. Were they both there at the same time?
No, because she's
Okay,
in India.
got it. Okay. And who's the decision maker?
Her, obviously.
May or may not be the case. Could be a deflection, right? He could have deflected it over, but if it sounds like he wanted that property. Okay, so he didn't buy it. He didn't make the offer?
No. Well,
Okay,
he did verbally, and I came home to start doing it on paper. And
right.
then he called me and said, don't stop working on it,
Okay.
because she said no.
Okay. She said no.
Yeah. She said, I don't want you to buy that house because the backyard's too small. That's what he told me.
Hmm. And what do you mean by too small?
Well, I asked that and there wasn't an answer. He just said she just doesn't want to buy the house.
She doesn't want to buy the house. What's below the surface there?
Fear.
Okay. So do you see where we're going?
Yeah. But if I
We
can't
just
talk to that,
Well, that's why I said there's layers to that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So if I'm coaching you
right,
one-on-one, then it's like, okay, we're not working with anybody until we know we have both decision makers on board, right?
right,
So that's a separate piece. But for
yeah,
everyone's benefit, do you see how we went one level, two levels,
yeah,
and just keep going, keep going? Now, if we knew what was their motivation and their pain of buying or not buying, we can tap into that. We don't deal with all this. All that goes away because we already know the issues and we're asking the questions based on what we know they want because that's what they told us. Now, comes in, and sometimes we just have to ask. So I just want to make sure, are we on the same page? What was the reason you were buying again? And you get them to tell you again. Have you ever noticed when you're trying to sell something or convince somebody, it's easy for them to say no, but it's easy for them to convince you when they want something,
yeah,
right? So the point is, are we skilled enough to ask the questions so we find out what they want and they tell us that they're ready to move forward? That's all this is. So developing skill set, it's so attached to mindset because are we thinking like a top producer? Are we thinking like a master salesperson? Because a lot of the objections I hear right now aren't true objections. They're statements. We have to get below the surface. So going back and thinking out every listing you have right now, what's the motivation for them selling? It'd be a great reconnection call anyway. Go over for a cup of coffee and just figure out, update them on the market and just in conversation. Let me ask you, what's the real reason you're selling? What's important to you? That conversation, the next time they get an offer, it's going to be a different experience because you know what's the reason. It could likely even lead to a price improvement conversation. You're going to start to know this again. This all goes and is tied into connecting. So the price, that's too high, it's too low, it's the wrong time. Those are just statements. They're not really ultimately the true underlying reason people don't do things. Because if you want something bad enough, you're gonna find a way to get it. Our job is to help show them how to get it. I'll let you take a picture of this. This will help you just as a framework of what we just went through. So understanding, establishing rapport, great questions, finding pain and pleasure, linking pain and pleasure to the process, and then transitioning into the close by just asking clarity-based questions. So it's all about the relationship and developing your skill set. So here I've got every script you can imagine I internalized. I became a script. It ultimately led me to asking great questions. I'm going to give you 4 questions that you can build your own script around. The 4 questions are what, how, who, and when. You can ask every single person you meet from today forward a what-based question first. What's important about you doing this? What is it that you want? What's the ultimate reason? What's your motivation? What's your vision? What's your goal? Taking it deeper means tell me more. So you ask the question, tell me more. Ultimately, it can lead to how. How do you see yourself affording this property? How are you going to get the money? Leads to who? Jennifer, to your point, who else is involved in this buying process? Well, my wife. Is your wife here? No. How are you going to buy a property if your wife's not here? Who ultimately is the decision maker? How are you guys going to figure it all out? What, how, who, when? You can layer that and frame it around their feedback. So the feedback technique, whatever they've said, the close is framing that back to them and ultimately asking a what, how, who, when question. The when question is when you want to get in the house.
He told me that he wants to get in before November,
Is your wife moving in with you?
eventually. Yeah.
Is she going to, let me ask you this. Do you want to have a house before, I assume she's coming to Canada at some point,
Yeah.
right? She hasn't been here. She doesn't know the market. How will she know
Of
it's the right
course.
property,
Well,
right?
I said that to him. I didn't have any problem saying that.
Yeah.
Because we had a rapport. And so I just said, have you thought about the fact that she's not here? She doesn't know anything about the market or the pressures or the pricing or, all of these things. And the fact that things are technically on sale right now. And he she said no, and he was done. There
You're
wasn't
going to go back
anything.
to him and drill down and figure out the motivation. How are they going to buy a property? See the how?
I'm gonna
Just
have
go
to.
back to him. You're going to have to go sit down with him, get her on the phone for everybody's benefit. You're
Yeah,
struggling with a client right now, just re-engage. Go back to the
yeah,
beginning, right?
yeah,
Figure it all
yep,
out. Help. They will tell you how. So asking the
yeah,
questions, taking it deeper. Okay, so that's the target and goal here.
right.
So skills is all around relationship, connecting with people, and staying resilient. Like this is a resilient based market. You have to have, if you're still here in this market, it tells me you're all survivors. So now the question is, are you ready to thrive in this market and stay resilient and become the best salesperson you can? Get so connected to what it is you want. What's your driver? What's your why? And when we get connected to that, then we're going to become the person. So the goal you've set, the question you ask yourself is, who do I have to become to achieve that income? Who do I have to become? And who you have to become is not going to be the person you are today because you don't have the income. So let's reverse engineer it. Who do I have to become? Use your imagination. You're going to have to become likely better skilled. I'm just knowing that as a blanket statement in the industry right now. I have to think different. I have to be more confident. 5 conversations a day for a month. You have had 100 conversations. You will be so confident, it will ooze through you. People will feel it. Who do you have to become? You have to become a leader. Because right now, people are looking, buyers and sellers are looking for leadership. If they don't have it, they're just going to, I'll wait. So become the leader. And then ultimately, we embody the goal, we live from the goal. And then you just start to show up different. And now you're going to start to notice how opportunities start to come your way. A client calls and says, hey, I have a couple properties to sell. You do an open house and somebody walks in and they were just transferred and they want to buy something this week. Like these opportunities will start to show up and now embody who this person is, and you'll see how fast it happens. So this is all so useful because now understanding that it doesn't have to be sales scripts that we've all thought of or learned in the past. We become the script. We just embody the fact that we're going to connect with people. We're going to find out what is it that they want, what is their motivation, what's important about that. Any objection, we feed it back to them. Tell me more. That helps us close. The close is, when do you want to make the offer? Do you see yourself living in this property? Soft closes. And you build your scripts around what, how, who, when. And the beautiful part of all this and what we believe and coach is that you want to build this business, your business, so you have fun doing it based on who you are. That's it. So once you know, okay, how am I having fun doing this? What is my number one lead generation activity? Do that every day. And we all know people right now. We all have a database. I'm sure we do, right? If there's people in our phone, I've got 2,200. I just did a training yesterday and I've got 2,200 people in my phone. I have no problem reaching out to people. So you build your script. And here's a great script. I'll throw this one in for you as you're connecting with people. I was just thinking of you. How are you? Bridget, we talked about that last week, right? Sent out 10 texts the other day. I had 3 people reply. 30% response rate out of 10 texts.
I had a great 20-minute conversation with someone that I hadn't spoken to in probably a minimum of 7 years. And it was all because I was like, hey, I was just thinking of you and got into it. And luckily enough, they're looking to buy a house on the lake.
Luck has nothing to do with it. You just created an opportunity that you may or may not have known or got.
Right.
That's powerful. Simple. It's so simple right now. And understand this, I compete with myself. I don't look at others as competition. However, from a real estate perspective, there's not much else happening out there in the industry. There's so much opportunity. So now let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your mindset now around about your sales or your business potential? And type in the number in the chat. And just again, goes with, I don't know if you even remember what you had or not, it's okay. Just whatever number comes to mind. Because the point of this is, have you shifted? Has that energy shifted? Because if we can shift our energy in an hour, imagine what happens when you're doing this and focusing on this for yourself every single day. You've got Jason. Jason's here to support you. Maureen's here to support you. Here's what I know. They want your success as much, maybe even more than you do. That's awesome leadership. That's an environment and a culture that's missing out there. So you're very blessed. So work with them, right? They're there to help you. And Jason and Maureen, I appreciate the opportunity for being here again today. So thank you for this. It's my goal right now. I'm seeing a lot of pain, and I know there's so much opportunity in this business. And for those that show up, like you did here today, go get your fair share. Actually, go get your unfair share. Because what you claim today, you never give up. So this is your defining moment. This is your down 2 games to nothing. If you haven't taken a picture of that, I'll put that up one more time. And again, this is one module out of a program that we have. Happy to discuss this with anybody. If you're interested, just reach out and let me know. Jason has my contact info, and I'll be sending everybody a quick follow-up message today as well. And I'll invite you to book a call. I'm happy to offer a 30-minute reset call. So wherever you are in your business, whatever we've talked about today, open-ended, no attachment. I just want to help you finish strong and have an incredible opportunity for next year. And from that, happy to discuss our program if that is something that is of interest along the way. So let me ask you, what did you get out of today? What did you hear today that resonated with you, that made sense, that's something that you needed to hear, a message? Love to hear your perspective.
Thank you. I thought it was very informative and very helpful and motivating. And I'm taking bold right now, so that's really good as well. So this was just an add-on to it, and I really appreciate it. It's good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Bold's an amazing program. I took it 6 times. I encouraged our hundreds and hundreds of our realtors to go through it. So amazing program. And you're going to learn this. It's get whatever you can, right? But we have enough. We are enough. We have everything we need. Let's start to apply what we know. But thank you for sharing that, Laura. I appreciate it. Jason made a comment. We are our biggest obstacles, 100%.
Mhm.
I'm my biggest block. I'm my biggest problem.
I like the fact that it seems so simple, and yet we're not doing. Most of us aren't doing it. The 5 calls a day, and then looking at that from multiplying that into a month, and of course you would be so well not scripted but comfortable and have. I always find that I might get stuck and then I don't know what to say, or in negative situations. And so, and then I talk to people like yourself, or professionals that have been doing this for a gazillion years, and they have comebacks to everything, not cheesy ones, good ones, that keep the conversation going.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that. And that's why I try to make things simple. And there's no simpler comeback than feedback technique. Whatever the
Yeah,
reason is, feed it back. You don't need to know the
yeah,
answer. Just feed it back. Give them
yeah,
space to answer. Tell me more. So the feedback technique, tell me more, that opens it up and allows you to transition them. So we don't need to
yeah,
be scripted, right? And then the 4 questions, again, just to reinforce those: what, how, who, when. I recruited hundreds and hundreds of realtors by those 4 questions, Jason. What, how, who, when.
yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. I appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity, everybody. Jason, thank you again. And Maureen, yeah. Rinse and repeat. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. And then reinvent. Because I found we don't grow, we keep hitting the ceiling, right? So every time you hit a ceiling in business, that's an opportunity to shift our identity. But thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate you all. I will, Jason, I think I have everyone's email, but I will circle back, book a call. Last thing, jamiepurvis.com. Book a call. Happy to do that for you and with you. Okay. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful day,
Jamie.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.